people around, they flock to come shad fishing because that's something they used to do with their granddaddies and their daddies and their mamas. And so Miss Janet and a group of other people, like George Sugg and who else was involved in starting it up? Um, the Bosleys, and even Mr. Tommy, who's still here with us. He is. he was the youngin involved, but it was a time that families all come together, and it was for a common cause where we like to shad fish. So I'm very thankful for that. I'm thankful for the group of people who decided to make sure that this town was put on the map every year here in shad season. I hope our 54th is going to be the best one ever. Yes.
How in the world can the Shad Festival be 54 years old when I remember coming here as a child and I'm only 35? How is that even possible? Because I'm telling a fishy tale, that's right. Tyra, thanks for having me.
Thank you. We thank you, Todd.
All right, so folks, I was telling you a few minutes ago, we may be live or we may not. I'm recording anyway, so if we're not live, the recording will survive. I was telling you earlier about Beagle Book Club. There is a whole city over there where the Contentnia Creek and the Neuse River come together. It's called Cedar Hollow. How many of you ever heard of Cedar Hollow? 2 people heard of it? Wow, that's pretty impressive. Uh-oh. Puppy took a tumble. So Cedar Hollow is a place that you can only get to if you've been there before or if you're invited. It is a magical place that was created when time began. And it's a place, has your dog ever just disappeared for a couple of days? He went to Cedar Hollow and learned a little something. So in Cedar Hollow, these are the different beagles that live there on the board in front of me. So when I'm talking, I'll be talking about these little beagles here. So I'm glad you made it this evening. And I'm going to tell you a story from a Beagle Book Club book that is not published yet. This is a new book. I've just written it. As a matter of fact, I wrote it for the Shad Festival. So, and it was inspired by true events. Everything I write about is usually inspired by true events. And this was inspired by a local news story. How many people saw the Artemis mission where the astronauts went out and circled the moon? Who saw that? Who thought that was cool? Yeah. Well, the Beagles that go to school over at Cedar Hollow Academy, the Cedar Hollow Special Ops Academy, they saw it too, and they got... So they went to the moon themselves. So I'm going to tell you a story tonight. I guess it's afternoon, it's not night, about imagination and how to use your imagination. So welcome to Beagle Book Club, where the fire's always warm, tails are wagging, and there's always one more story to tell. Pull up a seat, settle in close, because this is one that you're not going to want to miss here on this quiet evening down deep in Cedar Hollow. Because on this night, some young pups decided they wanted to go to the moon. If you ever find yourself out in Cedar Hollow, right about the time the sun slips behind the pine trees and the air starts to turn just cool enough that you want to reach for a jacket, you might hear something. Not hounds running, not hounds barking, not trucks driving down a dirt road. Something softer, something younger. Laughter. And you would think that would be children laughing, but it's not. It's the young pups at the Canine Special Ops Academy. And by thinking it was kids, you'd be missing the most important part. Because out there in Cedar Hollow, when the pups play, they don't just play, they become something more. See, this story is not about going hunting. It's not about the pups running around in the woods. It's about a mission. One evening, Andy, this is Andy right here. He's the star. Mandy, his twin sister, Princess and Chaos, and of course their cousin Little Molly, decided they weren't going to run in the woods tonight. They weren't going to go find their rabbit to play with. No, sir. They were going somewhere no hound had ever been before. They were going to the moon. And TikTok just told me that I'm restricted because I'm using unoriginal content and I'm the author. So TikTok figured that out. I'm the writer. I wrote it. They didn't have any training in how to build a spaceship. They built one anyway. They didn't have anything you expect except imagination. And in Cedar Hollow, that's more than enough. Guess what? Imagination's more than enough here at Grifton Elementary School, too. Andy was the first one to speak up. He said every mission needs a commander. And he had seen his dad, Major Rusty, 100 times stand proud and tall. Major Rusty is a military veteran. But just like that, Andy was in charge. He started telling people what to do. Andy's good at that. Mandy slipped forward next. Red bandana tied just right around her head. This time she wasn't just pointing at the sky. She had a job. She had a mission in mind, a very serious one. I'll be the medical officer, she said. I'll take care of everybody. Now, Mandy's always planned on being a nurse one day. Anybody thought about being a doctor or nurse or paramedic or? Well, that's what little Mandy wants to do. Maybe when she graduates from the K-9 Academy, she'll be a nurse. But she wanted to make sure nobody got left behind, especially little Molly. You know, little Molly's a small little dog. She's tiny. While the others were building the rocket ships and arguing about who was in charge, she was just standing there watching, her little tail wagging, but she didn't really know where she fit in on this mission. Mandy noticed. She always noticed. She went over to Molly. "Come on, Molly," she said softly. "You're part of this mission too." And right there, on the ground, beside the old shed, behind the barn, way back on the farm, where the grass grows a little bit taller and the dirt's always soft, Mandy helped Molly build her very first spacesuit. It wasn't perfect. The cardboard was a little big. The tape didn't quite hold right. And her helmet kept sliding down over her eyes. But she was there. Mandy fixed it, adjusted it, smiled at her, and there she said, "Now you're ready." And just like that, Molly stood a little taller. Now that brings us to the Wonder Twins, Princess and Chaos. We got a princess here tonight. I see two. So Princess and Chaos are twins. Princess is real prissy. She won't go out unless her hair is perfect. Her ears have got to be slicked back just right, and her nails have to be painted. She is a prima donna. Chaos is exactly the opposite. He gets into everything. He trips over his own feet and will bark at his own reflection in the mirror for 5 minutes. So they're a piece of work. They're twins. Now, Princess wasn't going to go to the moon looking all a mess. Oh, no, she took her time. She wrapped herself up just right. She made sure every piece of her spacesuit looked perfect. And because if you're going to be the first hound on the moon, you better look the part. And then there was Chaos, Princess's twin brother. Chaos didn't build his suit. He attacked it. Cardboard crooked, tape everywhere, helmet sliding sideways over one eye. But I'll tell you this, out of all of them, he believed it the most. Now, behind the old shed, back there behind the barn where the grass grows a little taller, stood the greatest spaceship in Cedar Hollow. When you leave the building, if you walk out, you might be able to see it across the trees towards Tick Bite. A cardboard rocket. They had painted it all themselves, crooked letters and all, Ops 1. Ops stands for obedience, purpose, and service. Even in play, they remembered what they had been taught. And sitting just beside that rocket was a little lantern. Now that little electric lantern, flickering in the evening air, to most folks it was just a lantern. But to those pups with their imagination, it was going to be the fuel that took their spaceship to the moon. And then it was a countdown time. Their fire was lit. The lantern was turned on. It would carry them to the stars. Positions, Andy called out. Mandy climbed in first. Princess followed carefully not to wrinkle her spacesuit. And Chaos dove in like it was taking off already. Mandy looked them all over just like a real medical officer would do and said, "Everybody good?" A chorus of excited barks rang out as they answered her. They all took one last look at the sky, and just for a second, they believed it themselves. 3, the woods got real quiet. 2, even the wind seemed to hold its breath. 1, launch. And just like that, they were gone. Well, not really. But if you'd have been standing there, you'd have seen 5 pups in a cardboard box laughing like they were bumping into each other. But what really happened was because in their minds, they were using their imagination. They broke through the trees. They flew past the clouds, past the stars, and landed somewhere they had never been before. The moon. And I'll tell you something. Most folks forget as they get older. Imagination. Imagination's not just pretending. It's practice. Practice for believing things you can't see yet. Practice for courage. Practice for leadership and dreaming bigger than the world around you. What's this? Cell phone? You kids, there's never been a time in your life there wasn't a cell phone. When I was a kid, this was imagination. It didn't exist. Cardboard box did, and you could talk on that. And out there in Cedar Hollow, those young cadets weren't just playing astronaut. They were learning how to lead, how to care for one another, how to work together, and how to believe. Because one day, they'd be tested for real. Storms will come in your life. Things will matter, and decisions will be heavy. And when that day comes, these pups will remember the night that Mandy helped Molly stand tall, and they built a rocket ship out of cardboard, lit by a lantern, and flew to the moon. Now, if you're ever out there and you see paw prints in the dirt, and you hear laughter where there shouldn't be any, don't question it. Just smile and remember, it's just the pups over at Cedar Hollow, and anything is possible. And that's the story of the night how Andy, Mandy, Princess Chaos, and little Molly built a rocket out of cardboard and flew all the way to the moon. Maybe they never left Cedar Hollow, but I'll tell you something. That don't mean they didn't go somewhere. Because sometimes the greatest journeys you'll ever take don't require a map, just a little imagination and the courage to believe. So tonight, wherever you are, I hope you remember to dream a little bigger, laugh a little louder, and never forget what it felt like to believe that you could touch the stars. Until next time, the fire will be waiting, the woods will be listening, and the pups will be ready for their next adventure. That's it. There's a part 2 if you want to hear it. Huh? They got to get back from the moon. There is a part 2 if you want to hear it. I see a bunch of people left, but if you want to hear it, I'll read it for you. Do it? All right. With every moon mission, there is always one more. My thing's making a bunch of noise in the headphones. I don't know what's going on. I got the recorder running, so we're recording it. What happens if you go to the moon? What happens? Can you stay on the moon? You have to come back. That's right. How do we get back from the moon? But the capsule splashes down, right? So the name of this one is Splashdown. Back behind the old barn at Cedar Hollow, right where the grass grows a little taller and the dirt stays soft, right where the Astro Hounds were returning from space. Or at least, that's what they said. Hang on, somebody just sent me a comment on TikTok and it messed up everything. I wasn't answering them in the chat, so they sent me a message. I'm live, bud. I can't talk to you. Sorry. There was their rocket, a big cardboard creation covered in tape, markers, and imagination, sat tilted over a little bit in a mud puddle. Across the side written in big bold letters, Ops 1. The mission. Andy climbed out first, wearing a cardboard helmet with a crooked visor. Mission complete. Mandy followed, adjusted the tape on her suit. We successfully landed on the moon and made it back. Chaos came out of the side flap like he owned the place. We splashed down. He immediately ran straight to the mud puddle and jumped in it. Splash, 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 splash. Mud went everywhere, especially on Princess. She didn't like that. Molly just sat in the spaceship, still wearing her way too big cardboard suit. Are we really back, she asked. Andy smiled at her and said, Molly, we never really left. Mandy added, but that don't mean we didn't go, sweetie. Molly looked down at the muddy water and then back at her friends, and for the first time she stepped out. Chaos was already in the puddle, spinning circles, throwing mud on everybody. This is the ocean. We made it back. We made it back from space. He saluted dramatically. Splashdown, he confirmed. Andy laughed and jumped in beside him. Rescue team incoming. Mandy followed a little more closely. Molly hesitated, then took a step, then another, then splash, little Molly went in. She landed right beside him. Princess stood at the edge, looking at all the chaos, trying to wipe the mud off her fur. She sighed. You all look ridiculous. Chaos grinned. Sis, you're just too scared to get dirty. Princess paused, looked at them, and then slowly stepped forward. One paw, then another, and finally she was in the puddle with them. They splashed and splashed and splashed. So across the farm, sitting on the back porch of the house, in the rocking chair, Major Rusty watched the whole thing unfold. He's on the card here. Arms crossed, quiet smile, rocking in his rocking chair. Lucinda stepped up beside him. Well, how'd the mission go? Rusty nodded towards the puddle. They made it back from the moon. They learned how to come back. Behind them, Ops 1 was leaning a little sideways. The cardboard was getting a little wet, but still standing. Andy looked at it and said, we should fix it up. Mandy nodded and said, yeah, we need to make it stronger, maybe use some 2x4s. Chaos grinned and said, yeah, and we're going to add boosters to it. Princess added, maybe we'll make it waterproof. Can we go again, Molly said. Lucinda's voice carried out across the yard. Pups, you better clean up before supper. And they all looked at each other, covered in mud, wearing taped up spacesuits, standing in a puddle they called the ocean. And Andy said it first. That was the best mission ever. Now, the moral of the story, and all of my stories always have a moral. You don't need a real rocket ship to go on a great adventure. Just imagination, good friends, and a place to land. The end.
This big grumpy guy right here writes little kid books.
So I'll tell you a little bit about me. I grew up in Grifton. I'm from Tickbite. I moved away. I joined the military when I was 19. I became a military intelligence agent. Anybody know who James Bond is? I was Bond. How cool is that? It is moments of excitement surrounded by months of boredom. It's not what it is on TV. So I left the military. I served in law enforcement until I retired. And now I'm writing kids' books. I like that way better than anything else I've ever done. So, but I got 2 kids left, 3 kids. Evidently, I need to quit writing kids' books because the kids did not enjoy it, but the adults did. I think I'm going to write some adult books. Huh? Well, see, I was told 6 to 8. So I came early to set up, and then I'm here to... Anyway, so trivia time. Well, we're getting ready to turn that We're getting ready to turn it. Can somebody turn that around for me? I don't want nobody cheating. Yeah, the board. Just flip it around so nobody can see it. We're going to have question and answer time. I'll let you see them in just a minute. Actually, put them right here where I can see them. No, I want to see what they've been looking at the whole time so they can tell me. Who can tell me the name of one of the set of twins in my story? It's not on the thing, so. Excuse me? That is correct. You get a sticker. All right, who can tell me the name of the other two twins? Yes. Excuse me? Andy and Molly. Yeah, it might be my accent. Good job. Actually, it's Andy and Mandy. But what's the name of the little tiny pup? Molly. You get another sticker. This one's for the adults. You can't answer. You can put that back out where she can look at it. What is my name? You keep cheating like that, man, and you can be a lawyer. I'm just saying. She wanted to look at that. What next question. What branch of the military did I serve in? This is an adult question. Army Intelligence. All right, you did good. There's your sticker.
Well, how about one for his car?
Yeah, you get a bumper sticker. Anybody got questions? The ones that are published now are on Amazon. If you put my name in, Chris. The unpublished stories, you can find them on Beagle Book Club, the website, and Beagle Book Club, the Facebook page. Everything's on the Beagle Book Club Facebook page. Not everything's on the website yet. Yes, young lady. I have been writing for about 35 years. One of my elementary school teachers, named Miss Forrest, lived right here in Grifton, and she encouraged me to write when I was in elementary school, and I didn't like writing back then. I don't really like moving a pencil around. I'm too lazy. I don't like moving a pencil and pen around. When I learned how to type, I was like, oh, I got this. And then when I learned how to do this, I can write anywhere now. I can be sitting on. Yeah. I could, I like to talk, right? Check this out. So today, I'm at Grifton Elementary School doing fishy tales. Yep. So write that down, publish. I don't even have to type anymore. Perfect. Perfect for the lazy person, right? It's great. So, question, concern, comment? Oh, you're talking about the snow monster that was chasing me. I don't have that story right here in front of me, but I can kind of tell you the gist of it. Anybody know what a Wendigo is? Well, it's a big, tall thing. It's got antlers, kind of like a deer, and it's got claws like a bear. And See, when I was growing up in Tick Bite, you want to hear the Wendigo story, right? When I was growing up in Tick Bite, I was told there was a certain area I just didn't go in. So I avoided that area. And then I got older, and we had that big snowstorm back in, was it January, February? And I said, you know what? I can go there now. I'm a grown up. So I eased on out there, and I went on back in the woods, and there's an old no trespassing sign back there. It's all busted up, but it's still there. I didn't pay that sign not one bit of mind. And I remember my daddy telling me not to go back there, but I went back there. Had a couple of the dogs with me. I think Andy and Mandy might have been with me. So we're walking back there, and all of a sudden I heard this shriek that was blood curdling. The dogs had run along the trail in front of me, and I figured they were out there probably chasing a rabbit or something, right? Well, all of a sudden they screamed out like they had seen the devil himself. And they came running to me, scared. And they didn't slow down when they got to me. They kept running. They ran all the way to the truck, got in the dog box, and got under my toolbox on the back of my truck and were peeping out at me like, we got to go. So I'm like, what are these dogs running from? I walk around, I ease around the corner, and that's when I saw it. And I've got a picture online. The picture's pretty good. It's about 10 feet tall. It has antlers, claws, huge teeth. And it screamed. And when its scream came out, my blood went cold. My ears were ringing because it was so loud. Well, it's a fishy tail sort. It happened near Contentnia Creek. So I decided the best thing for me to do was run. And that's what I did. I took off running. I ran to the truck and I left. Interesting thing, the Wendigo cannot cross the line where the no trespassing sign is. There's a magic line there and it can't cross it. As long as you don't go into its territory, it can't come into yours. So fast forward about 50 years from now. I know this happened because I got on a time machine and went and saw it for myself. My granddaughter went for a walk in the woods, and she saw the no trespassing sign. Her and my son, they walked past it like it wasn't there, and they ran into the Wendigo. Same thing happened to them. And they ran back across the imaginary line, and it could not give chase. Emily, sure.
May I take a second? We have a winner for the adults. It was just by a hair, but it did take a while. She did win. I'm so sorry. Your story was great.
I didn't come to win it.
I could tell it was great. It was great. You were just coming to share the story. It was great, man.
I didn't come to win it. So anyway, Emmy went back and made a new sign and put it up. And the sign doesn't say no trespassing. It says keep away. Because things beyond this line do not need to be bothered. If you leave them alone, they'll leave you alone. And Emmy is taking over maintaining that sign for the rest of her life. Yeah. So that's what I got, folks.
So you are reading the story. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Andy keeps falling.
He does.
I think he's jumping. He probably thinks there's a rabbit out there. Did all the kids get a sticker? Did all the kids get a sticker? I really do have beagles. Yeah,
You remember him?
I do know Larry.
He said y'all were pretty much neighbors.
Growing up, we were.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to see if this camera's any good. It's a $50 camera I bought on Amazon, and I've recorded with it. So we're going to see if it's any good.